an executive coach and trainer. I have the opportunity to mix and mingle with organizational leaders, CEOs, department heads, SMEs, and things like that. On this particular instance, I was having a needs assessment session with the CEO before going in to work with his team. And one of the areas that he truly wanted to see a difference was how his team, his staff interacts with him. He had the notion, or he started to feel uncomfortable after many years being an Ivy League trained professional, an innovative leader, brilliant mind for our generation, doing groundbreaking work within his brand and company, but he still struggled with making that human connection with his people. And the thing that he wanted me to come in and work with his people on was how they could actually build a culture to interact more authentically. Now, hear me when I say this. He wanted to interact more authentically with his team. And of course, after asking him several questions, I realized that it wasn't the fact that his people did not like him or care about him. In fact, because of the quality of service and product that the company offered, it was the kind of place that most people dream to work in. But with him as a leader, there was a lot of yes men and women around him giving him politically correct responses and ideas most of the time. I mean, you can always tell when people are sort of disingenuous, not because they mean you harm, but because they don't feel vulnerable enough to share their real thoughts and ideas with you. And that vulnerability is what comes in when there is a heightened level of emotional intelligence. And all of that trickles into setting up the atmosphere for a positive and thriving organizational culture. So, of course, needless to say, we went in, we did what we needed to do, got to the bottom of the issue, and we were able to help them develop a system and strategy to begin to bridge the gap between the leaders and the rest of the team. An open line of communication being open, and of course helping the leaders to understand how empathy plays a role in driving the connection and vulnerability with the rest of the organization. So today, this podcast is about helping you learn how companies, businesses, organizations have a silent success driver within its engine. Some organizations have it and some don't just have it. But if you are a leader, you're an SME, you're a department head, you organize teams, and you truly want to drive success from within, this podcast is for you. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Dr. Oyinkansola Jinodu. Everybody calls me Dr. OJ, the Gifted Mech. Welcome to the Gifted Community Podcast. And on this week's episode, we're going to be diving deep into our core message and program, which is emotional intelligence, and how this particular word, phrase, as you want to term it, drive success in different areas of life, but particularly in businesses and organizations, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. If this is your first time on my podcast, I want to tell you this. You are definitely in for a treat. I want you to take your notebooks, your journals, and take copious notes and write down everything that I'm going to be sharing with you. But most importantly, before you leave us today, I want to ask you for one single favor. I want you to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I want you to turn your notifications on, because we come in every week with amazing content in the Gifted Community Podcast. But most importantly, we want you to help us take this message to more people. So the more you engage, especially with your subscription, which is free, and of course turning your notification on so that way you'll be the first to know once we upload our videos every week, you help us drive this content to the right people and more people like yourself who truly need what we have to offer. But most importantly, we invite you to join our growing gifted community to be part of all of the amazing value that we bring beyond the podcast, of course. So, are you ready? Let's dive into today's message. As you guys know, I'm a faith-based coach and entrepreneur, and every content that I share comes with insights from the Bible, which is the rule book that I guide myself with. And that is the Word of God, because I'm a gifted coach and I'm partnered with the gift giver. And for you, he would be God, Yahweh, whatever name you want to call him as you have built your journey with him, he will answer to you. So let's dive in. I have a few Bible verses for you, so I want you to take your notes. The first one is Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything flows out of it. Everything, the issues of life, everything flows from here. So we are called to guard our hearts, to be very intentional, to be very mindful. Awareness. Self-awareness is a key aspect of emotional intelligence. So let's start with that. For you to be able to understand that there is an issue, you have to first of all be aware of it existing. So if your organization is not doing so well, not because you don't have a great product, but because the internal engine is not well oiled or serviced well by, flourishing your teams with the right tools to help them bud and flourish in emotional intelligence space, then this episode is for you. Pay attention very closely. Self-awareness is where you have to start from. And when a person is self-aware, the state of their heart tells it. They can tell from within when something is going right, going well, and when something is not going so great. The second Bible verse is Galatians 5:22-23. The fruits of the Spirit. He's talking about the fruits of the Spirit. There are 9 of them, right? We have love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. This in EI world is the relational intelligence. This is how you relate to people. What are the things that they're getting from you? What is the energy that you're giving off? What vibe do they feel from you? Do they feel love? Are you the kind of leader who's patient enough to assess the situation, hear people out before you make your decisions and judgments and things like that? So the fruit of the Spirit actually lays it out how you can have the right attributes to help you relate with people, build interpersonal relationships. James 1:19, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Active listening is something that we propagate in this community. As a leader, you have to listen actively, not listening to respond, but listening actively to understand the other person's perspective. Because I realize that, when you have a better understanding of some of the pain points that your people are having, your team is having, you're better able to figure out a way to help solve the problem, or at least collaborate with them to solve the problem and to make things better for everybody. So active listening is a very strong skill set that every leader should aim to have. Not just listening to respond, but listening to understand. Right? Last but not the least, Nehemiah 2:17-18. Nehemiah rebuilt the wall, not by technical expertise alone, but by inspiring others. He was able to inspire to get the help of others. He had to get the buy-in of other people. He knew that the project in front of him to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem was not just going to be about the resources and all of the things that the king had given him, but he needed people, because that is your greatest value asset proposition. The greatest asset any organization has, or anybody has really in their network, is the people around you. So how do you inspire as a leader? That is something that comes with you having the EI strategy, or the EI personality trait of empathy. As an emotional intelligence expert, I kind of bring this to my clients in different ways. Empathy cannot be overemphasized. You cannot just take a situation in isolation. Sometimes a worker coming late to work might just have been because they stayed up the previous night to meet up a deadline, or to go the extra mile to doing something for you. So when they show up early in the morning or late, and you're very quick to judge or criticize or chastise them for coming in late without understanding or having empathy, like, oh, if this person stayed up really late finishing their work and putting in the extra candle to burn towards this organization, I should be able to extend some grace. as long as they don't make it a pattern of behavior, right? So we have to be able to understand how empathy plays a role in making our leadership not just effective, but making it more acceptable to the people that we're trying to lead. You know, any leader who has no one following them is only taking a walk. So just remember that when your people feel your empathy, they will be loyal to you. They will follow you anywhere you want them to go. But if you're the kind of leader who is only able to get them to do what they have to do or need to do without having them be loyal and vulnerable around you, then you might just be the leader who's taking a long walk, going nowhere, or going somewhere all by himself or herself. And we don't want to do that. So let's look at how emotional intelligence drives our operations and our businesses into success. What are some of the credentials for leadership? And how is this very important in determining your influence and the culture within your organization? Another thing is understanding your self-mastery. You know, emotional intelligence as a leader is you being able to have all the traits that we identified in the Bible verses. You have to be self-aware. You have to have empathy. You have to be able to develop interpersonal relationships as a whole and individually with people. And you also have to be very, very quick to understand different scenarios and situations and dealing with them accordingly. So that is one of the things that makes you an effective leader. So having all of these credentials beyond your Ivy League certificates, beyond your certifications, beyond your training is very, very important. Now, number 2, let's look at self-mastery. To lead yourself is to grow yourself. If you're trying to lead a whole organization and lead a bunch of people, but you're yet to master yourself, to know yourself, to understand what makes you tick, what are some of the things that might trigger a certain response from you as a leader without, one day having an outburst in a meeting and you're like, I didn't even realize this was in there within me, is something that you have to do as a leader. Self-mastery is important. You need to know yourself so much that you are ready for any situation, even situations that are unplanned. And that makes your leadership effective, and it allows your people to have sort of a knowing and an expectation of you as a leader. When you always throw surprises at people with your behavior, you become an unpredictable person who cannot be trusted. And a person who cannot be trusted cannot be a leader, right? So in the marketplace, you have to learn how to subdue your emotions, put them in the back burner, because now you've mastered those emotions. So it's easier for you to do. If you don't get to know yourself, get to master your emotions, get to accept the things about you that you need to work on and doing the work to make yourself better, then you are going to be driving the engine downwards as opposed to elevating it with your people. So 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 talks about this, right? Understanding all of the state of your heart and having that mindfulness and awareness of dealing with yourself. So the fruit of the Spirit, how does this framework actually help drive your leadership? Leaders without love, patience, a joyful person, someone who is meek. That means you have strength, you have the power, the authority, but you keep it under control. You don't wield it anyhow, carelessly, letting people know, reminding people at every turn, I can fire you, I can make you, I can break you, I can do, you can do and undo. Nobody really wants to be around such a person. People want to be around someone who's full of joy, who's calm, who's patient enough to see and hear them through, who is able to actively listen and understand and empathize. It allows you to create a joyful environment. Happy people makes a happy workplace. And if you're not a happy person, how do you cultivate happiness and joy around your people? Trust me, the Bible has everything that we need to make our lives a huge success. And that is why we make it the foundation of our emotional intelligence framework, right? So understanding the fruits of the Spirit and, understanding that, in the corporate world, we try to take leadership as a cliche. But when we look at it in biblical terms, it's really just calling us all to our position of leadership, to have the fruits of the Spirit, to exemplify that in the marketplace, and ensuring that our fruits are yielding positive outcomes. All right, so how does emotional intelligence equate to business success? Teams thrive better when they have leaders who are empathetic, period. That's just something that it's been known. A team, a group, an organization will do better when the leader has empathy and kindness to the population, to the general population. Strong businesses are built on strong leaders. Strength under control is a fruit of the Spirit. Meekness. It's called meekness. Yes. So when you hear that word like meekness, it doesn't mean you're shy. It doesn't mean that you're not strong enough. It just means that you have your strength and you have subdued it and you have it under control. That also equates to your emotions, your reactions, your responses. All of those go in the bubble of your meekness, okay? So empathy equals engagement, and engagement equals productivity, and productivity, need I say, leads to cha-ching, profitability. Isn't that what we all want to do? We go into business to make money, but if our businesses are not successful and we're not thriving, listen, everything kind of starts to snowball, or the domino effects goes down the line from there. So when you're a leader who is invested in your emotional intelligence, and need I say invested in the emotional intelligence of your team, you build a culture where your people, yourself, everyone is dealing with each other with empathy, kindness, vulnerability, and that leads to what? Exciting engagement, interactions, honest feedback, open communication, and productivity goes up. And when productivity goes up, what happens? The bank accounts get loaded and things just work well. And the economy flourishes as well, right? So nonprofits can benefit from your social responsibility because your company is doing so well. And so many lives can continue to be changed for the better because, again, your company is thriving. Success is going on in that organization. So here is something for you to think about today before I leave you. Think about how you're managing your emotions this week. Make a note, take a journal, and write down different scenarios of things that trigger or just just make you respond. How your emotions respond or react in different situations, right? As leaders, we are better off being able to respond as opposed to being reactive. I've done a podcast in the past talking about response and reactive rate. So what's the difference between the two? So how do you manage yourself in different situations? And also ask yourself, am I creating a culture of fear or a culture of respect? Yes, a culture of fear or respect. Two different things. When people fear you, or if they respect you as a leader, there's two different outcomes, right? So what culture are you creating? Is it one of fear or respect? Last but not the least, how am I modeling the fruits of the Spirit? If you're a faith-based entrepreneur, a business leader, a CEO, just like me, how do you go to your workplace, take everything that the Bible teaches us and model that in your daily life? How do you do that? If you're wondering how, look at everything that I've discussed and broken down in this podcast, and that would be a good place to start. All right? All right, guys. So listen, I have a call to action for you. Just as a member of our gifted community watching this podcast, we have an event coming up on the 20th of September, and I really need you to be part of it. The information is below this video. It's going to be a virtual event, so you can join us from any part of the world where you're watching this video. You can be there and learn about some opportunities that we are bringing to you as an organization. And of course, this is coming from my personal brand, Dr. OJ, the Gifted Meg. So I'm really excited and looking forward to getting together with you on the 20th to share everything that I have to share as an opportunity for our gifted community. So as we close out today, remember that your gifts will open doors for you. Yes, the gifts of a man makes room for him, but your emotional intelligence will determine whether those doors stay open and how long you stay in the room, or if you actually develop staying power and strength for that room. So your gifts will make room for you. It will let people identify something amazing within you that they want to connect to. But emotional intelligence, especially when you are guiding it and building around the framework of the Bible, the gifts of the Spirit, will keep you in those rooms and it will keep those doors open for you. That means you will now have the privilege to not only walk through those doors, you will have the privilege to hold those doors open for other people to walk through your influence. Leader, there's two different outcomes, right? So what culture are you creating? Is it one of fear or respect? Last but not the least, how am I modeling the fruits of the Spirit? If you're a faith-based entrepreneur, a business leader, a CEO, just like me, how do you go to your workplace, take everything that the Bible teaches us and model that in your daily life? How do you do that? If you're wondering how, look at everything that I've discussed and broken down in this podcast, and that would be a good place to start. All right? All right, guys. So listen, I have a call to action for you. Just as a member of our gifted community watching this podcast, we have an event coming up on the 20th of September, and I really need you to be part of it. The information is below this video. It's going to be a virtual event, so you can join us from any part of the world where you're watching this video. You can be there and learn about some opportunities that we are bringing to you as an organization. And of course, this is coming from my personal brand, Dr. OJ, the Gifted Meg. So I'm really excited and looking forward to getting together with you on the 20th to share everything that I have to share as an opportunity for our gifted community. So as we close out today, remember that your gifts will open doors for you. Yes, the gifts of a man makes room for him, but your emotional intelligence will determine whether those doors stay open and how long you stay in the room, or if you actually develop staying power and strength for that room. So your gifts will make room for you. It will let people identify something amazing within you that they want to connect to. But emotional intelligence, especially when you are guiding it and building around the framework of the Bible, the gifts of the Spirit, will keep you in those rooms and it will keep those doors open for you. That means you will now have the privilege to not only walk through those doors, you will have the privilege to hold those doors open for other people to walk through your influence. So please understand that when you are building and investing in yourself, it's not just for you. It's for the many, many other lives that you get to touch, the lives that you get to impact, that the lives that you get to interact with, that God is looking forward to you being a gift to them. Again, if you have not discovered your gift, you are the gift. The real gift is you. Everything God put in your hands is the gift that makes you the gift that keeps giving. The world is waiting for that gift to be expressed so that way lives can be changed, hearts can be transformed, and people can return to the original design of having an authentic relationship with the gift giver. His name is Yahweh. I call him God Almighty. So it's our job as leaders in the marketplace to redirect people through our gifts to him. So guys, guard your heart, steward your emotions, and watch how God builds a successful machine for you to be profitable in the marketplace so that you can replenish the earth. So you'll multiply everything that you do because now your fruits are telling. Multiplication, increase, right? And you can influence the world for God's glory. I am so excited for you guys this week. I want to encourage you to go out there, be very successful, be very mindful, be very intentional about being aware. Self-awareness is where we start from. As always, I love you guys and I can't wait to be back with you next week. But before I come back, I want to see our subscriber number jump up, guys. Help us to hit the 10K mark on this podcast community by hitting the subscribe and sharing this video with as many people as possible so that YouTube can begin to recommend us to other amazing gifted humans just like yourself. And drop a comment below. Which of these emotional intelligence strategies or tools are you going to be implementing, or are you in need of working on to develop? If you would like to work with my team and I, please click the link below and book a free discovery call with our team so that we can see how we can best serve you with our gifts. All right, until next time, it's me, Dr. OJ, the Gifted Meg. Bye, guys. Mwah.